We welcome you to Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York, a special Yes Network presentation during this holiday season as we get ready for the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl, which will be December 29th, 2 p.m. right here in the Bronx. Welcome to everybody watching on the Yes Network as well as the Yes app and streaming the broadcast on pinstripebowl.com. Ryan Rucco, your host for the afternoon, joining me on the dais here at Yankee Stadium, the executive director of the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl, Mark Holtzman, who we will hear from in just a moment. We also have key principal figures from Syracuse as well as from Minnesota. The athletic director for Minnesota, Mark Coyle, joining us, as well as their head coach, PJ Fleck from Syracuse, the athletic director and my former boss at ESPN, John Wildhack, as well as their head coach, Dino. We will hear from all of them in just a bit. But Mark, we've experienced this for a long time now. 12 years that there's been a Pinstripe Bowl, new sponsor this year with Bad Boy Mowers, and you and I know the holidays in New York this time of year, it's always special. This bowl has become part of the fabric of New York this time of year. I want to give you the opportunity to welcome everybody in as we kick off what's going to be a really fun few weeks.
Thank you, Ryan. I can't believe it's been 12 years. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. On behalf of Team President Randy Levine and the entire Steinbrenner family, I'd like to welcome everyone to the 12th annual Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. Boy, that sounds good. To the Minnesota Golden Gophers, your first time playing here. To Coach Fleck, AD Mark Coyle, and the entire Gopher Nation around the country, welcome. I hope to see a lot of you here for the game. And of course to Syracuse, Coach Babers, who I've known for many years, AD John Wildhack, and the hundreds of thousands of Syracuse loyal fans, both in the New York metropolitan area and tri-state area, as well as upper New York State, welcome. We hope to see you here as well. The 12th annual Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl is truly a season of firsts this year. It's the first time a two-time Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl champion in Syracuse is playing in our game, going for a record-setting third win. It's hard for me to believe that it's 10 years since Syracuse last played in the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. It's 10 years since Prince Tyson Gully ran wild on the field for about 220 yards in the snow. Remember that, Ryan? And Ryan Nassib was throwing darts on the field, and of course, in one of Doug Moreau's signature games, he was carried off the field in the snow. Yeah. And went on to great things from there. It's also the first time for Big Ten powerhouse Minnesota to play in our game. We've been following the Golden Gophers for many years. They've had a fine record for a number of years, a nationally ranked team with a dynamic young coach in PJ Fleck, and some great players, including Mohamed Ibrahim. I hope I pronounced that right, one of the top running backs in the country. And of course, a linebacker. His first name's Mariano. Yeah. Mariano, sorry, Mariano. How could a Mariano, Ryan, not be successful in Yankee Stadium? It's also the first time in recent memory that a conference has delivered in the Big Ten. When we entered into the deal, they said they would deliver 8 different schools in 8 years. And with all the bowls in business now, that's very hard. Congratulations, Commissioner Kevin Warren, prior Commissioner Jim Delaney. You're able to accomplish that. It's not easy to do. It's also the first time for a new title sponsor for the Pinstripe Bowl, Bad Boy Mowers, who is celebrating their 20th year in business. Thank you, CEO Pete Ballantyne. Thank you, Director of Marketing Lindsay Keller. In today's sports landscape, you had many different opportunities to choose. You could have picked a variety of different sports and a variety of different bowls, yet you chose ours. And we're thrilled that you did, and we hope to live up to all of your expectations. I'd also like to thank at this time Michael Tusiani from the New York Yankees and Chris Foy from Legends. Without them, the Bad Boy Mowers sponsorship would not have been possible. Bad Boy Mowers is a great company, and their products are known for reliability, ruggedness, and power. And they're at the forefront of innovation. And it's those same qualities which were in Syracuse and Minnesota, which is why we chose those two schools. A lot of people don't know it, Ryan, and we'll get into it further, but we do have choices when we pick the team that participates in the bowl. And we've chosen to pick those two teams for a reason. And we feel that they embodied all those qualities that Bad Boy Mowers embodies as well, and we're thrilled to have both of them. Finally, this game is also a testament to the late, great George Steinbrenner's vision. And I can't give an introduction to our bowl game without talking about George for a minute or two. George was also a very close friend, and John, excuse me if I pronounce it wrong. Your former AD, Jack Crothamel? Is that how he's? Okay. George was a very close friend of him, as well as former Big Ten Commissioner Wayne Duke. He was a huge person on the college football scene. And next to baseball, George's first love was football. For many of you that don't know, George was an assistant coach both at Purdue and Northwestern before he went into his dad's shipbuilding business. And when he built the new Yankee Stadium, it was always his dream to have big-time college football here. And I know that he would be thrilled that we were able to take the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl to where it is today. And I know that George is smiling. Later in the program, Ryan, we'll talk about what we're doing the week of the bowl. We have a lot of the same terrific events that we've had in past years. And we'll get into that as we get later into the body of this program. And it's now back to you. Yeah,
one thing I want to follow up with you right away, Mark. You talked about the selection process and how there are choices. You know, give us a little idea of how you did land on Syracuse and Minnesota and why those two programs are going to be participating in the Pinstripe Bowl this year.
Well, we pick, I'd like to call it in the middle of the pack. And we always have some options, and like I said, we want the schools to embody certain qualities that the Yankees have, and we also want schools that we believe will resonate here at Yankee Stadium. Obviously, Syracuse has played here before. You've seen the results. We've had packed stadiums both times, and there are a tremendous amount of alumni within this region. Minnesota, okay, the program has been very solid the last few years. They have a great coach. They also have a pretty strong alumni base in that Boston to Washington corridor, which is very important for us to be able to draw from. Also, Christmas time, you want to have an airport relatively accessible, and there's some major airports right in Minneapolis, St. Paul, that you could fly into multiple airports here. And we just felt the combination of those two schools, they played against each other a few times. They both are exciting teams, can be explosive at times. Both have good defenses. Both play very hard for their coaches. We just felt it would be a very attractive combination, not only for the fans at our game, but all the people watching on television, hopefully, across the country.
No doubt. And that game, of course, is going to be December 29th, 2 p.m. on ESPN, as well as ESPN Radio. More on the week and the experience in a moment from you, Mark. But now, want to check in with the Director of Athletics for Minnesota. That is Mark Coyle. Mark, we just heard Mark Holtzman mention this is the first time that Minnesota is playing at Yankee Stadium, whether the current stadium or the old stadium. How much does it mean to you, to the program, to be playing at the stadium here in the Bronx with a bowl title on the line?
Good morning. Well, obviously, it's a tremendous honor to represent the Big Ten Conference and not only the University of Minnesota, but the state of Minnesota. When you think of sports icons, you think of Yankee Stadium, and the first thing that comes to mind is first class. And I know myself, our president Gable, and PJ and our student athletes are incredibly humbled to have the opportunity to play a great team in Syracuse. And we look forward to a great matchup on December 29th. But we're very humbled and excited to, again, represent the Big Ten, the University of Minnesota, and the state of Minnesota in such a prestigious building.
Mark, how about, we just heard Mark Holtzman talking about the alum in the area. How about just the initial reaction from your alum and maybe making the holiday season home in New York for them as they get ready for the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl and watching their Gophers.
There's no doubt our fans are excited. You know, we have sold out our bowl allotment. When Mark and I were talking leading up to the bowl game, we have sold out our bowl allotment in the last 2 bowl games we played in. We have a great alumni base along the East Coast, as Mark talked about, and our fans are excited. I give PJ a lot of credit. He has re-energized our fan base over the past several years. He's taken us to multiple bowl games. Our kids are doing the right thing on the field. More importantly, they're doing the right thing off the field. And again, there's a lot of excitement, and we expect a lot of Gophers to be out in New York to celebrate this great opportunity.
All right, Mark, well, you mentioned PJ. Let's check in with your head coach right now, PJ Fleck, who, yes, has done very nicely in bowl games at Minnesota, 3-0, in fact, and heading into his 4th. PJ, how about just the reaction from your players getting this opportunity to play a bowl game at Yankee Stadium?
First of all, I just want to say thank you to the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl, Mark Holtzman, Randy Levine. Just can't thank you enough for selecting the University of Minnesota. Our players are really excited. You know, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. A lot of our players never been in New York City. They've never been to Times Square. They've never been, and the experience they're about ready to embark on. Not only that, being able to play in one of the most historic venues and one of the iconic venues with one of the most iconic organizations in all the sports. It truly is an honor. We're very grateful. We get to play an elite opponent in Syracuse. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to Dino as well. I've known Dino for a long time. And we've actually got a chance to watch some of this film as the years gone on based on who we played over the years. But there's no place in the world like New York City on Christmas time. I can remember just growing up and watching Home Alone and Home Alone 2 and everything that goes involved in it. Our players have too. And I know they're really, really excited. So we're honored. I want to thank the Big Ten and Commissioner Warren, Mark Hoyer, our athletic director, and our president, Joan Gable. And again, obviously the Bad Boy Mowers Bowl or Pinstripe Bowl for all that you've done. And we're honored to accept the selection. And congratulations to our players as well, because I know they're really excited. And when we told them, they were fired up. And again, like I said, not many of them have been to New York City. So this is going to be one of the most exciting experiences they've ever had. And I can't wait to share it with them.
You know, Coach, in a little bit, we're going to hear about just the different activities from Mark that are set up for the players during the week. And it's really a broad and an immersive experience. What's your approach as a coach as you guys are coming here to take care of business and win a bowl game, but also you're going to have access to very unique opportunities that really only come with this particular bowl game?
Well, absolutely. And that's what makes it so unique. I had an opportunity as an assistant coach to be at that bowl many years ago. And it's still one of the best bowls I've ever been to because of the experience. Bowl games are a reward, right? And for the season that you had, and it's a celebration of the time together, really one last time together before a whole new team starts and everybody goes on their way and everybody moves on with the rest of their life, especially some of our seniors, which I'm sure we'll talk about here in a little bit. But it's just ironic that we're playing in this bowl. We've been studying Derek Jeter's the captain all year, right? The show that he had. And it's, the Jets were just in town with the Vikings. I need a new mower. Like, this is perfect. It works out really well. But I know our guys are really excited, like I said, and it's really special. And I know Dino feels the same way. But we can't wait to be there.
Yeah, you mentioned your seniors, Coach, and you guys really played well down the stretch to create this opportunity, winning 4 of your last 5 games. What has stood out to you about the way you've played as a group over these last 5 games to punch your ticket here, and then also the contributions of the seniors as they finish up their careers in your program?
Yeah, I know I already said it, but, I'm so proud to coach this particular football team. They've taught me so much. A lot of these guys are 6-year seniors. They were brought, in year 1, they were either committed to another place, we re-offered them here, and they came along sight unseen. And it's a really special group. This is an opportunity for us, to win another bowl game, which is huge. But this team has accomplished something that's really special. This is 8 straight full seasons, or 3 straight full seasons of 8+ wins for the first time since 1903 to 1905. That is historic for our program, as we keep knocking down a lot of nevers and firsts, and there's a lot more to accomplish. And these guys are the ones doing that. Our defense, averaged 13.3 points a game, which is the least amount of points since 1967. I mean, that's critical for us. We got guys like Mohamed Ibrahim. That's the second time being first team all Big Ten since Lawrence Veroni, Bob McNamara back in 1952, 1954. Tanner Morgan, our quarterback for most of the year, and really the majority of the time since I've been here. A Warfel Trophy finalist. John Michael Schmitz is on every single award, it feels like. And then for us, back-to-back axes by beating Wisconsin for the second straight year since 1993 to 1994. So a lot of highlights for this particular group, but those stats don't compare to what type of people they are. And I'm just grateful to be their football coach. It's so fun. When your football team teaches probably you more than you're teaching them, you got the right group of young men. So I'm excited to share all them with you. And I know they can't wait to be there.
Well, Coach, an incredible season for you and a wonderful time for your program. I know we're all looking forward to seeing you at Yankee Stadium on December 29th. Going to send things over now to the Syracuse side of things and Athletic Director John Wildhack. John, how much does it mean to you and to the program to be playing in the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl come December 29th?
Good morning, Ryan and Mark. It's great. We're proud and privileged to represent the ACC and our alumni, our student body, and our fans to participate in the 2022 Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. I want to thank the Yankees, Randy Levine and Mark Holtzman. And Mark mentioned it, but Mr. Steinbrenner, his passion for college football is absolutely incredible. And to play in this game for the third time, it's an honor for our program. When we had our team banquet Sunday night, and when I talked about coming to New York, playing in Yankee Stadium, one of the great iconic venues in the world, the media capital of the world, an area that we have so many alumni and fans from, players from the tri-state area. So it's a perfect opportunity for us. We're thrilled to represent the ACC. We congratulate Coach Fleck and Mark on the season that Minnesota had, a very formidable opponent. We look forward to a great game. And again, we're just pleased to participate, and it's going to be a wonderful experience for our young men and for our staff as well to spend 3-4 days in New York City and to cap it off by playing in Yankee Stadium.
John, you're very familiar with this venue, with this market. How much is it going to mean to you, and how exciting is it going to be to just see Yankee Stadium filled with orange shirts, jerseys, jackets like we know we're going to see based on previous outputs when it comes to this bowl game and the Syracuse alumni and fan base?
Ryan, I mean, New York City it's kind of like our second home, and again, to play in the game twice, it's been a great experience. It's been 10 years since we've been back. And I just think, when our guys and our staff gets down there and they get the full New York experience and they get to the stadium, it's going to be something that's memorable. This is not just another bowl game. You're playing in New York. You're playing in the media capital of the world. Our fans will be there. You're playing in Yankee Stadium. It's as big a stage as there is, and it's a wonderful opportunity. And our guys, they're energized, their staff is energized, and we can't wait to be there.
Well, we're looking forward to having you. We're going to check in now with your head coach, Dino Babers. Coach, congratulations. Just kind of piggybacking off of what John had to say, what has the energy been like around you, your staff, and your players since finding out you're coming to Yankee Stadium?
Well, the energy's been high, but first, Ryan, I want to thank you, Randy Levine of the Yankees, Mark. I love you. You guys, thank you so much for picking us. This is going to be an exciting time. I'm glad that I don't have to learn the names of the athletic director and the other head coach or practice saying that. Congratulations to Mark Coyle and PJ. I guess we're going to end up having dinner somewhere again where we bump into each other. I bump into PJ more having dinner than any other head coach in college football. So this is just a natural for us. But the young men are extremely excited. I've had numerous calls. This will be my first opportunity with the Pinstripe Bowl. But the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. But I've had numerous calls from coaches in the ACC that are jealous. They're like, hey, you're going to a great bowl. I've heard nothing but fantastic things about it. And I'm excited to not only get an opportunity to spend New York, Christmas Day in New York or the Christmas holidays in New York, but also Yankee Stadium, which I've been to before. And it's all the things that everyone has already said here. But it's a classic. It's a must do. And when this is all said and done, hopefully it'll be one of those boxes that you check that you've got that done and that you were a part of not only a fantastic bowl, a fantastic city, but being taken care of by a fantastic organization that's always first class, the New York Yankees.
Coach, you guys had a really strong performance that final regular season game of the season against Boston College, coming up with a victory. What stood out to you about the way your team played in that game and what you want to see your group duplicate when you get here to Yankee Stadium?
Well, first of all, I liked the fourth quarter a lot better than I did the first quarter. But the one thing that really stood out was it's a rival game. There was people were out there giving each other the business. I think that's the best way to put it. That referee had that one shot that's on YouTube, quote unquote, 15 yards, personal foul, giving the other guy the business. There was a lot of business going on in that game. And I would like for the bowl game to be just as exciting, just as hard fought. Maybe, take the maybe out, less business going on out there, and just two good football teams celebrating having a really good seasons and going out there and playing for one another and playing for the not only the names, the surnames on the back, but the university's names on the front.
10th appearance at Yankee Stadium for Syracuse. When you talk about the current stadium as well as the original Yankee Stadium, how much is it going to mean to you, Coach, to have your alum here, have your fans here, and know you're going to feel a lot of support in this building at Yankee Stadium?
In 2018, we got an opportunity to take all the fans down to Florida, and I think this one's going to be great. Let's stay at home. Let's sleep on our own beds, and let's come out in full force. I think there's no doubt that the Orange will be there, and I think they're getting excited, and they're waiting for a good contest versus a fabulous Big Ten football team and a fabulous program. PJ and I go back all the way to our days at other universities, which we won't mention here, but we've broken bread before, so I'm sure that'll be good. And then when it comes to Mark Coyle, I think he has a fantastic discernment when it comes to first judgment in hiring good coaches.
We are looking forward to you guys definitely being able to find some great restaurants here in New York during the week leading up to the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. We're going to step aside for a moment. We come back. Mark is going to tell us a little bit more about what the week is going to be like for the teams participating, and we're going to take your questions as well for the coaches and the athletic directors of both programs. The Golden Gophers and the Orange, Minnesota and Syracuse getting ready to kick it off December 29th, 2 p.m. on ESPN and ESPN Radio in the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. We thank all of you for joining us on the Yes Network, the Yes app, as well as streaming the broadcast on pinstripebowl.com. Ryan Rucco here on our dais, along with the executive director of the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl, Mark Holtzman, for the introductory press conference for this bowl game. Mark, before we get to some Q&As for the coaches and the athletic directors of both programs, and one of the things you alluded to before, that people who have participated in this bowl game continually talk about, and there's a reason why Coach Babers got calls from other coaches in his conference saying, I'm jealous. It's not just the playing at Yankee Stadium in this bowl game that's so special. It's also the experiences leading up to the bowl game with both programs. Give us a little idea of what these two programs are going to participate in the days leading up to the game on December 29th.
Sure. First of all, Coach Babers is right. The way the ACC selection is set up, we literally had 6 schools that qualified for the pool that we picked.
Wow.
And they all called us up and wanted to play in our game first, which is nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice for it to be that way. First of all, the fabric of the week, we have 2 terrific hotels. We have the Sheraton Midtown and the Hilton Midtown. Right smack Midtown, easy to get to Yankee Stadium. They do a great job, provide great hospitality areas, and great services for both and amenities for both programs. Couldn't do it without them. Then also the practice facilities. We use Columbia and Fordham. They're not far from Yankee Stadium. They both do a great job because a lot of people are home for Christmas time. If they come in over that time period and they put a great program together for both schools to practice. So I'd be amiss if not thanking them. And yes, we are going to have great events like we always do, iconic stuff that, feels New York, smells New York. I mean, for example, the ringing of the bell at the Stock Exchange. We're going to have both head coaches, athletic directors. Pete Ballantyne from Bad Boy Mowers, the CEO, will be there as well. And, that gets like 200 people worldwide watching that. And both schools, what great exposure for both schools. And what a memory for both the team captains of both schools to say to their kids and their grandkids that I rang the bell at the New York Stock Exchange. And, usually when they ring the bell, the Dow's up that day, too. So if you play the market at all, Ryan, it's a good day to bet that the market's going to go up.
Thank you for the tip.
Okay,
yeah.
Anytime. And tell your dad, too.
Yeah, I will.
Tell your dad. And then also, we're going to Radio City for the Christmas Spectacular. What's more New York than going to Radio City and seeing the Rockettes?
Yeah.
Okay. We're taking everyone for Tuesday night to a Ranger game. So all the players are going to get to see the New York Rangers at the iconic Madison Square Garden. Then, of course, and it's hard to believe that a lot of these kids that are playing in this game are actually too young to have lived through it. We're taking everyone to the 9/11 Memorial. Because you should never forget. And it's a very moving experience, and we always take the kids to it, and the kids who were not alive then should know, because it's something, 9/11 is something that defined an event, that defined New York, defined our generations, and will define generations to come. Then we're taking everyone, of course, to OWO, to go to the top of OWO, which is very cool. We're taking the wives to Tavern on the Green.
Nice.
Which is always very special. And all in all, it's going to be, once again, it's going to be a very, very special week for everyone. We have plenty for the kids to do. New York, as you know, around Christmas time is just so special. And it's going to be chock full of activities to do from the time they get here to the time they leave.
Yeah.
And also the one other thing I wanted to mention was the charitable component.
Yeah.
Very important. The Memorial Sloan Kettering Children's Pediatric Center for Cancer, we're very involved with. We'll be doing things with them again. And also, the Bronx youths, all the kids that play football in the Bronx, the teams will be doing a chalk talk with them as well. So the charitable component, getting involved in the community, is also very important to us. And I'd be amiss if I didn't include that.
Yeah, really an all-encompassing experience for both teams that will be participating in the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl, December 29th, 2 p.m. here at Yankee Stadium. Want an opportunity for questions to be asked and answered for the different athletic directors and coaches here. So with that in mind, let's send things over now to the Senior Director of Public Relations for the New York Yankees, as well as a member of the communications team for the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. That is Michael Margolis.
Ryan, thank you very much. We have a number of questions in queue, and we can start with Joe Schmidt from KSTP in Minnesota.
Hello, everybody. My question is for PJ. And PJ, I'm just wondering, are you approaching this game as the final game of the 2022 season or the first game of the 2023 season? And how do you find the balance between, praising your seniors and looking toward the future?
That's a great question, Joe. Thanks for being on. It's a little bit of a combination of both. First and foremost, it is the end of 2022. It's an end of an era for a lot of players on this particular football team who have given a lot to our team, both on and off the field. And I think have made the University of Minnesota an incredibly strong brand in the college football market over the last 6 years, and done so much just off the field for our community. So it's a celebration of those guys. But as you can see in college football, the way it's changed, there's a lot of people who have entered the portal. There's a lot of people who are finding new destinations. And that gives an opportunity for a lot of young players who we might have played 3 games and still have an opportunity to redshirt them. They're going to play in a 4th in the bowl game. A lot of young players might get their first opportunity in the bowl game. So it is an extension going into next year. So it's a combination of both right now. But I know this, and I'm sure Dino feels the same way. We're going to do everything we can to put the best team on the field. But I know a lot of our guys are really excited to play, some for the first time, but also guys that are playing in their 6th year and their final game, maybe of college football ever. Or just football in general ever. Some of them won't have a chance to play in the National Football League. And then some, this is the last college football game they'll play before they do go play in the NFL. So it's a combination of both, Joe.
We'll go next to Emily Liker at Syracuse.com.
Hi, everyone. My question's for Mark Coyle. Mark, I was just hoping you could offer some reflections on your brief time at Syracuse and then maybe on your departure as well.
Yeah, good morning, Emily. First off, obviously, it's great to spend time with Coach Babers again. He and I have had a chance to see each other throughout the years, and I think it's a credit to him and what he's done at Syracuse, that he's still coaching at Syracuse and leading that program. And I had a chance to spend time with John when I was at Syracuse. When John was over at ESPN, he'd come back for games. He's always been such a great fan and great supporter of that institution. So it's nice to see John again, too. And, Syracuse, I've been very blessed to be the athletic director at 3 institutions, obviously here at Minnesota, at Syracuse, and at Boise State. And each one of those stops has been very special to me and my family. We miss our house desperately in Syracuse. We had a great house back there and redid most of the house. And then obviously an opportunity came over here at Minnesota, and we took that opportunity to be with my family. As you all know, my family's from here in the Midwest, and it's nice to be able to see my family at events, at games. So again, we're just very grateful for our time at Syracuse. It was a wonderful place. We have great memories there, and great friends back in Syracuse, and actually get back to New York. We did our vacation last year back in New York, so we do spend time back there, and again, great people back there. But really excited to be here at Minnesota and leading this program with Coach Fleck and President Gable on our campus.
We'll take the next question from Nathan Macaborski from Yankees Magazine.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for the time today. I just had a quick question for Mark Holtzman, actually, regarding the, you spoke earlier about George Steinbrenner and his passion for college football and his involvement with the bowl game. It's my understanding that the coveted MVP trophy of this game is now named in honor of Hank Steinbrenner. And I was just hoping you could kind of take us through that decision as to why the Pinstripe Bowl wanted to name the trophy after Hank.
Sure. Well, the apple didn't fall far from the tree there. And just like his dad, Hank was a huge proponent of college football here at Yankee Stadium. I'm fortunate enough that I got to know Hank a little bit over the years. Learned a lot from him. Incredibly passionate guy, incredibly passionate about college football. And he helped us a lot in the early formative years of this bowl, and it was only right, given his recent unfortunate passing, that we named this trophy in his honor. Because just like his dad, he was very instrumental in this game becoming a reality and growing as fast as it did.
For the next question, we'll go to Randy Johnson from the Star Tribune in Minnesota.
Yeah, this is a question for Mark Coyle. Mark, you're in the unique position of having hired both of these coaches. What convinced you on Coach Babers, and did that help you when you were hiring Coach Fleck, that process?
Yeah, well, there's no question, Randy. It's good to see you, and I hope your mother's doing better, Randy. There's no question. When I was at Boise State, we went through a coaching transition when Coach Pearson went to Washington, and we hired Brian Harston out there. And then when I went to Syracuse, we went through that transition. And what I'll say about Dino and about Coach Fleck when we hired Coach Fleck here at Minnesota. People obviously see them when they're coaching their teams and they're leading their teams. But the one thing that really stood out about Dino and Coach Fleck is they're even better people behind the scenes. They're wonderful men with great character. And I think there's a reason why you see why they're having so much success leading the programs the way that they do, because obviously they're really good football coaches, but they're even better people. And again, when I had a chance to meet Dino, I think Dino and I spent Thanksgiving together in Detroit and had a chance to meet him. He was very impressive, and his wife, Susan, and his family. And then when I had a chance to meet PJ a year later, feel very blessed to have the opportunity to work with Coach Fleck. So again, they're both great football coaches, but even better people. And I'm just excited to see the success that they both have.
We'll go to Dave Campbell with the Associated Press.
Hey, PJ, you kind of talked about some of your sixth-year seniors, but I was wondering about, I guess, Tanner's status for the game, whether there's a chance that he might play and how you might balance that with getting, obviously, Ethan some more valuable time.
Yeah, right now Tanner's still under our medical care, and he will be, and they're kind of steering the ship on that. But he's doing a lot better. I mean, he's been at practice. He's actually practiced a little bit as we've gone forward, as he continues to follow what the medical staff tells him. But he's done a lot for our program. I don't think people value enough what Tanner Morgan has done for the University of Minnesota. Sometimes we always focus on what somebody hasn't done instead of what they have done. Tanner Morgan is the all-time winningest quarterback in the history of our program. And I think that's one of the best people you'll ever meet. He's going to be a football coach here very, very shortly, I'm sure. And I think that's going to be his path whenever he decides to do that. And he's going to make this profession way better.
We'll take the next question from Tom McSladek from CNY Central in Syracuse.
Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for making the time. This question's for Mark Holtzman as well. Mark, you mentioned that, Syracuse fans have been in the Pinstripe Bowl before. They made the trip, but it's been 10 years. What can they expect in terms of maybe some things that have stayed the same in terms of game day, and what will be different since 2012?
Well, we have a lot of the same amenities that we had before, except they're enhanced. You'll find more outdoor areas where you can hang out and watch the game and mingle with your friends and family. We have more hospitality areas now, than we had before. I mean, the bowl is essentially the same, but I think you'll see as the stadium has evolved, so has the game day experience. I think you'll see a lot more interactive signage on different levels throughout the stadium. So all in all, the best way I could describe it is it's an enhanced experience from when people were last there, and I think there'll be many other opportunities for people to hang out and go around the stadium. Once again, the staples that are always there, the well-known and iconic Monument Park is still there. The Yankee Museum is still there. The Yankee Steakhouse is still there. I mean, all of the iconic areas out of the Great Hall, obviously. So we've taken those areas and we've really built upon them. And someone should really take time before they come here to New York and Yankee Stadium to really take a look online at all the enhancements that we've made, because they've really been pretty significant, and it'll be a pretty special game day experience for anyone who comes to the game.
We can go to John Schwartz from Yankees Magazine.
Hey there, this is for both coaches. A couple of years back when Steve Addazio was here with Boston College, he said that what he was looking forward to was finding a meaningful meatball somewhere in New York over the holidays. I'm curious what you guys are most looking forward to while you're here.
Go ahead, Dino.
I was going to say, you want to start, PJ? My biggest thing is I'm excited to finally get to this bowl game. And Mark's been bragging about it, and he's been trying to get us there for so long, and Randy with the Yankees and the Bad Boy Mowers and all this stuff. We go there, we see it, we see the ball drop, we spend time in New York, but I've never been there in a situation where they're going to take care of us the way that, what everyone's telling me, the way that we're going to get taken care of for this bowl game. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun for the players, which I think is really cool. And then there's going to be some really neat stuff for the grownups. I want to piggyback on one thing that Coach Fleck said, and that is, and I want to get this out, is that football is such a unique game. We've got players that are playing in the game that are going to be playing it. They're going to be pro players. We've got young men who will be playing for the very last time. I mean, this is not like baseball, which you get to join a softball league and hit home runs there and tell everybody how good your collegiate baseball career is. I mean, when you get done playing college football, there's nowhere else to go. There's no health club that has a team. And then we also will have guys that play in this game and they get to go to pro football, but majority of them are not going to make it. They're going to get cut. So the last memorable game that they're going to play in is going to be in Yankee Stadium, with the bad boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. And it's going to have meaning. It's going to have substance. And I expect to see that in effort and everything else that goes on in that bowl game. So I want to make sure I get that out. I'm excited about going to New York, but I'm also excited about playing another game. PJ, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say the food trucks and steakhouses. So that particularly, I feel good about that. It'll be interesting what John Mosley puts together for us, and we're really excited about that. And we got a lot of foodies on our team. Mariano Marin, I can't imagine. He's already probably made so many reservations. I can't imagine where he's going, so that'll be fun. And probably an article for Daniel House to be able to put that where he's actually going as he spends his time in New York City. But just some of those just iconic, New York City food traditions, and I just can't wait to get out there. And our players feel the same way. And heading out there on Christmas Day is going to be really exciting for our guys.
We can take the next question from Daniel House from Gophers Guru in Minnesota.
Hi, my question is for Mark Coyle. How excited are you as an AD to provide players with an opportunity to experience New York through the bowl?
Good afternoon, Daniel. It's good to see you. Yeah, obviously, it's PJ talked about it and Coach Babers talked about it. The bowl game's a celebration. These young men have worked so hard all year, the coaching staff, there's families that work so hard all year. And we're just really excited. As PJ mentioned, a lot of our student athletes have not been to New York City before. And the chance to go to that city, the media market of the world, just the excitement, the holiday season, we feel very blessed and fortunate. And I know our student athletes are excited. And, I know when I talked to PJ about this opportunity, how excited he was, he and Heather to bring their extended family out here to New York is going to be really exciting. So again, excited for them and excited for the opportunity. And I can tell you, as Dino, Coach Babers talked about, hearing from other ACC coaches, I've talked to other athletic directors in the Big Ten who have played in this bowl game, and they just talk about what a first-class experience Mark Holtzman and his team do with the team. So we're looking forward to that great hospitality as well.
Take the next question from Dan Cordera from DT Media in Syracuse.
And this is for Mark Holtzman. Mark, we hear so much that Syracuse has this second home in New York City, and that is, that home away from home. Do you see that on your end? Do you feel like Syracuse really is that home team when they come in there? And just what you can say about your connection with Dino, because I know you spoke about the relationship you've had with him over the years.
No, first of all, the connection with Dino, we go way back. And John Mosley and I have been traveling up there for years, extolling the virtues of the bowl game to him. I mean, it had to be the right set of circumstances for Syracuse to play in our bowl. It took a few years. And, as in life, when you talk about something for a while and then finally it comes to fruition like this, it's pretty exciting. As far as Syracuse and Yankee Stadium, we've had a lot of great bowl games here, a lot of close games. But I got to tell you, the two times that Syracuse played here, the first game against Kansas State with the salute game where the Kansas State players saluted to the stands, and then they had to go for a 2-point conversion from the 35-yard line and lost the game. And then, of course, the third year when they were tremendous underdogs. I mean, they were the West Virginia team they played against was ranked during the preseason as one of the top 10 teams in the country. I mean, they had Geno Smith, Trevon Austin. I mean, they had a host of All-American players, and Syracuse was supposed to be crushed in that game, and Syracuse crushed them. I mean, it wasn't even a game. So it's kind of been a magic carpet ride for Syracuse whenever they've played in our bowl. And obviously the fact that, look, they're right on this call today, they're Syracuse alumni. I mean, they're everywhere. I mean, especially in the sports and communications and entertainment field, 1 out of every 2 or 3, it seems like 1 out of every 2 or 3 people in the New York area who are in that field are graduates of Syracuse. So, if this year is going to be any indication of past years, it's more than just a football game for them. It's truly a homecoming and get together of generations of Syracuse alums. So it's always been a very special time for them, and I'm confident, you know, having not been to a bowl game for a few years, having not been to a bowl game in Yankee Stadium for 10 years, that will even make it, you know, more special. And hopefully they will turn out in mass as they have in the past.
And as a quick follow-up, this is for Dino. Just what you can say. I mean, this is your first time that you're going to be over at Yankee Stadium for a bowl game and your second bowl in the last few years. Just what this whole experience means to you in the road to get back to the bowl season.
You know, it's really special, and it's really special that we're going to get an opportunity to start it, you know, right there in New York City. But I do feel like we're on our road back. I do feel like that we're rebuilding the foundation that we wanted to start with, and I do think it's going to be, you know, the escalator is going up from here, and it's going to be fun to do it in New York, and hopefully it's going to be exciting, and hopefully we'll feel great at the end. But you know, I wouldn't want to do it with any other people. You know, Coach Mark Coyle and PJ, I've known them a long time, and you know, that's a good football team. They've won a bunch of games over there in the Big Ten, and we know what we're entitled for. I know what it's going to be like, but I think the fans on both sides will get a good, clean game by good coaches and players who are excited to be there. And not only do I think it's good and it will help our program down the future, but obviously it's going to continue to help the Golden Gophers as well.
As a reminder, media, please use the raise hand function to get in the queue for questions. We can take the next one from Andy Gritter from the Pioneer Press in Minnesota.
Questions for Dino. You mentioned that you met Mark, or Mark mentioned that you met him in Detroit over Thanksgiving. I wanted to hear what your first impressions were of him during that interview process, and then what it was like to work with him during your time at Syracuse together.
What it was for me to work with Mark?
Yes.
Mark, the big thing about Mark is he asked you what you needed, and he tried to give you exactly what you needed to be successful. He was extremely clear in what he was looking for, and I always appreciated that. You know, I'm a military kid. I'm with a military background. You know, say what you mean and mean what you say. As long as you can do those things, then we're going to have an opportunity to have a relationship.
Just one quick follow-up from Mark. I understand how private of an AD you are. What is your reaction to kind of being, you know, kind of front and center, kind of the Venn diagram of this bowl game?
Well, the cool thing about being an athletic director, Andy, is I don't have to throw any passes or make any tackles, and I don't have to call any plays. You know, and again, as I mentioned earlier, it's really neat to see the success that Dino's had. You know, obviously PJ and Heather, what they've done for our program. I've talked about PJ and Heather being the ultimate change agents, and just so fortunate to have the opportunity to work with them. So it's just an exciting opportunity, and look forward to, again, seeing some familiar faces when we get out to New York on December 29th.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Dino.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go to Jeff Wald from Fox 9 in Minnesota.
Yeah, PJ, this game gives you the chance to win, you know, 9 games for the third time in 4 seasons. Just what does that say about your ability to raise the standard of this program, and just what you've instilled since you got here?
Yeah, we always talk about, you know, trust is built on time, consistency, and proof. And as football coaches, that's really what we're measured on. You know, when you start to look at, you know, the type of success you've had over your tenure. But it's always been a player's game and always will be a player's game. I mean, we've had some phenomenal football players here. When you look at every position, even if you start on offense, I mean, within the last 6 years, you could arguably make a case at each position as maybe the greatest player in Gopher history, arguably, at almost every position. It's a compliment to our players, the consistency they've had with the buy into the culture and the buy into the program and the buy into the University of Minnesota. But we have elite leadership. And I think it always starts there with Mark Coyle, and our president is a rock star. I mean, President Joan Gable is an absolute rock star. And she doesn't get enough credit even for the type of success we've had, you know, in our athletics department, and especially in the football program. So you always set out, and championships is where you want to be able to get to, and you want to be able to win. And that's been our main goal since we've been here. That doesn't mean it's guaranteed and promised every single year, but our players have done a really good job of focusing in on all those things. And it's a true reward at the end of the season to be selected by a Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl and go to New York City. So just couldn't be more proud of our players. But the consistency they've shown to keep changing their best, keep changing the brand of the University of Minnesota in such a positive way, academically, athletically, socially, and then in the serving and giving category. I couldn't be more proud of this group of young men because they're going to be really good. They're really good football players. A lot of them are going to go on and play in the NFL, but they are truly better people. They're going to be incredible husbands, fathers, and as Mark always says, change agents in their community. And that's, again, we all get judged for our wins and losses, but we really get hired to do a job of make these young men better people. And if you're a better person, you're going to be a better player because you're willing to do all the unrequired work necessary, not just the 20-hour rule. You're going to do all the unrequired on your own. And I give our team a lot of credit for doing that consistently over the last, 4 to 5 years. And I know they'll continue to do that in the future. And the young players are really excited to get their opportunity to lead the football team as well.
We'll take a follow-up from Dave Campbell from the Associated Press in Minnesota.
Dino, I was just wondering about those chance encounters with PJ at dinner that you mentioned throughout your career, and whether that was on the recruiting trail in the MAC or what happened with that.
All right, PJ, here we go. I don't know what it is about PJ. I don't know what it is from the very first time we met, boom, they came out and at another school and put it on us. And then the second year, we got a chance to reciprocate, and that was cool. But from that time on, I can take these private vacations, and all of a sudden, you're nobody knows who you are. You're in this restaurant, and nobody knows, and it's great. You're just a normal person, and you look over and you go, PJ's here. And he can talk to you guys about it, but I mean, it's not once. I mean, it's almost like he's got my phone, or he knows where my location is. It's been spooky how many times it's happened. So now it's to the point where when we go somewhere and we just say, hey, come on over and eat. I mean, it just happens. We've started apart. We're trying to eat dinner by ourselves with our significant others, but we end up having these group dinners and restaurants where we didn't tell the other person they were going there, but we kind of end up there. It's really weird.
Well, if anybody doesn't know Dino, it is like he's got this infectious personality, and he can talk about anything, anytime, anywhere, right? And he just draws you in closer all the time. So we always call him the governor of college football. He's a special human being, and just happens to be that way. I mean, it truly does. I'm not stalking the guy, but we happen to somehow be where we always are. I'm sure it'll be in the off season. We'll see each other somewhere down the road as well.
Will be no big deal. It's happened a lot of times before.
We got the same taste. Maybe we got good taste in the places we stay. We're good.
We can take a final question and tie a culinary bow on today's press conference by going back to John Schwartz with the Yankees magazine.
Promise, not about meatballs this time. College football, and obviously college football fans are so in love with tradition and everything like that. Right now, college football is changing a lot in a lot of ways, with the playoff and the transfer portal, things like that. What are the sales pitches you would give right now for the current state of college football? What excites you about college football right now for both coaches?
You go first, Pete. I went first last time.
Sure, and that's fine. Change is inevitable. Change is healthy. You can't grow if you're not changing. One thing I do love about where we're headed is a lot more teams have an opportunity now as we keep going into this 2024 season. When they talk about expanding the college football playoff, it allows so many teams like Syracuse, like Minnesota. And we were right in the brink in 2019. Dino was really close a few years ago as well. If you go back to 2019, how we finished, we could have been involved in that college football playoff. And you talk about getting an opportunity. We were one of the most traditional powerhouses when you're talking about the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s at the University of Minnesota. We have 7 national titles, 18 Big Ten championships, but it hasn't happened since the 60s. This allows teams like the University of Minnesota, like Syracuse, in my opinion, to be involved in the hunt and be involved in an opportunity to bring those national championships back. And as you saw this year, how exciting it was to have a team like TCU now be involved in the college football playoff. Last year, Cincinnati, and the attention and the excitement that brings to college football. Now, when you're talking about the transfer portal and recruiting and NIL, I mean, that's another topic. But I think change is healthy, change is inevitable. And I love where we're headed that way. As long as we keep protecting the rivalries and we protect bowl games. And I think we have to continue to value the bowl games like the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl and not just focus on the CFP. Sometimes we just focus on what's at top. Well, that's a great thing because instead of 4, now you have 12 to focus at the top. As long as we can keep the integrity of the other bowl games, which is all about the student-athlete experience. Keep the student-athlete experience at the forefront of everything that we think about, and then incorporate the business piece of that. And I think we're going to be really successful as we keep moving forward into college football, and it's going to be more exciting than it is now.
In 1990, we had an offense. I was at Purdue University. We had an offensive coordinator by the name of Bobby Turner. Bobby Turner, I believe, is the running back coach with the San Francisco 49ers. He's been all over the National Football League. He normally works for a Shanahan or he doesn't work at all. His number one line that I took from him, you always want to take from other great people and then emulate them. But his number one line was, I'd rather be green and growing than red and rotten. And I think that's what's going on with college football today, is that you need to be embracing the change. And if you embrace that change, you won't be a dinosaur, okay? And you won't be extinct. But you have to be able to move, and you got to be able to flow, and you got to be able to have a root. You have to be rooted, but you really gotta bend like an REED in the wind and be able to move in different directions, yet keep your integrity, keep your character, and stay rooted in the things that you believe in. When it comes to transfer portal, name, image, and likeness, those are the things that are changing college football. 100% agree with PJ. Expanding the playoffs is going to give other football teams opportunities. It's still going to be difficult, okay? But it's giving other teams opportunities, just like they had in 2019, we had in 2018. We could have been a part of those things, and it gives teams like us a chance. But please do not take away the experience of the collegiate football player. Please don't take away Bad Boy Mowers, Pinstripe Bowls, any type of bowl that celebrates what these young men do during the season is a good bowl to me. And we all know we can't get enough of it. We all know that even when we're cooking, even when we're working in the yard, we're listening to college football. And we know how exciting college football is because those young men are working and doing some things unselfishly that all of us wish that we could be a part of. And it's a game that has consumed me my entire life. And that's the reason why it's not a job. It's a career.
Great stuff. Great stuff, Coach Babers. Thank you to everybody who asked questions for our participants. Thank you to Michael Margolis for directing that. We are inching closer to the actual game, December 29th, 2 p.m. here at Yankee Stadium on ESPN as well as on ESPN Radio. Our thanks to the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl Executive Director Mark Holtzman, Mark Coyle and PJ Fleck from Minnesota, John Wildhack and Dino Babers from Syracuse. That's going to wrap things up here at Yankee Stadium. We look forward to seeing everybody back here in a few weeks for what is going to be a very special afternoon in the Bronx. So long, everybody, and happy holidays.